You'd be surprised by the amount of women who have gotten involved with men that panicked when their relationship started to get intimate, as if the men felt worse the better the relationship got, and didn't call or show up when they said they would. Men who were madly in love one moment, and in flight the next. When a woman is in a loving relationship with a man that suddenly transforms from loving and caring to distant and hurtful for no apparent reason, she ends up profoundly traumatized. Stephen Carter and Julius Sokol write about these men in their book, Men Who Can't Love. These men have commitment phobia, a claustrophobic reaction to relationships and intimacy. There are many men that can't love back. They refuse to spend enough time with a woman and may sometimes even treat her badly. He was loving in the beginning and he suddenly turned cold. She's in a very confusing situation, but this man hasn't only done this to her, he has done the same to every woman he has ever been with. The severity of the phobia varies for every commitment phobe. It depends on what he considers to be the commitment point of no return. Some panic after the first date, others panic right after the first night of sex, a couple panic after getting married, a few panic after having a child. Some men will be able to overcome their fears and commit, a lot of them won't. It's common for women to think that they are being rejected because they haven't been loving enough, so they chase him. Some even buy him gifts. They do what they can to communicate their love, but this is the problem. This type of behavior is what's driving him away. More of it pushes him further away. Commitment-phobic relationships are surprisingly similar. In the beginning, the man seems to want and need love. A lot of them are very charming and may attract the woman they want. This is the beginning of the problem. When he gets the love from the woman he wanted, his behavior changes. He is no longer the loving man he used to be. He may start to argue with her, or he could just leave and never call again, leaving the woman he actively pursued devastated. To a lot of women, it might be alleviating to know that the commitment phobe is as confused by his behavior as she is. His retreat may sometimes be so sudden that the woman is convinced that she did something that offended him. In a way she did, but she didn't. He still loves her and likes to be with her. He just forgot. He has been blinded by his fears. The commitment phobe may feel guilty for hurting the woman, but intimacy is so uncomfortable that the guilt is often not enough to keep him from leaving. The woman who wants a relationship is a threat to the commitment phobe. If he senses that she expects a commitment from him, he thinks fight or flight. Flight is the end goal, but sometimes he may fight a little bit as well. He might argue with her and attack her to introduce conflict into the relationship. He then leaves. Committing is something he cannot do, but his fight or flight response has nothing to do with the woman's attractiveness. It's important to understand that commitment phobes are only triggered to act this way when the relationship is going well. If the woman isn't interested in him, she won't be expecting him to commit. This means he is free to chase after her. He might call her all the time and buy her things. If she's hard to get, he will keep trying. If he succeeds, fight or flight. To the commitment phobe, loving behavior is manipulative. If he knows she likes him, every nice thing she does or says is misinterpreted. Being sweet, buying him gifts, and getting along with his friends and family will only make him think of the woman as manipulative. He thinks that this type of behavior is a calculated strategy to get him to commit. He may even start to hate her for this. He isn't necessarily scared of love, but he is terrified by what love represents. Forever. Forever is a long time. Commitment phobes will unconsciously focus on the woman's flaws. This is a deactivating strategy, a way to rationalize their exit when a woman gets too close. They tell themselves that the woman is too skinny, too fat, too tall, too short, too rich, too poor, too medium, too dumb, too smart. They are determined to find an imperfection and magnify it, no matter how small and insignificant. Imperfections give them something to blame the woman for. It's a lot easier than blaming themselves. It's common for men like these to date women that are clearly wrong for them. The women might be of a different religion or live somewhere far away. This doesn't always matter. Even if they find the perfect woman, they will find a way to spoil the relationship. They tend to be unfaithful. An affair is often a temporary escape, a reminder that they are not chained to the woman. It's important to say that a commitment phobe is not a bad person, and he wasn't born this way. A past experience caused him to fear commitment to such a degree, often a very painful one. He is most likely not even aware of his fear of commitment, but even if he is, he doesn't want to talk about it. Doing so may cause a woman to pressure him to go to therapy to find the solution to his problem. If he does, he could maybe commit, but he doesn't want to commit and he doesn't want to be pressured to do so. For this reason, he leaves without an explanation. These thought patterns and behaviors make no sense to any normal person, but this is how a commitment phobe acts and thinks. The book mentions 2 women who had their boyfriends leave the house while they showered, and they were never to be seen again. One woman said that her fiancé left their hotel room to buy cigarettes and never returned. Others described their experiences with men who pressured them to get married, have children, or move in, but turned cold after the women said yes. This type of behavior is called the pursuit panic syndrome. The man pursues the woman until he gets what he wants from her. He then realizes he took it too far and needs the relationship to end. Commitment phobes are very confusing. Women who get involved with them say that they have 2 personalities. Clearly, a part of him desires to be in a committed relationship, but when he is, an inner demon takes hold of him. He hurts the woman's self-esteem and later leaves. He may love the woman, but his fear of commitment is stronger than his desire to be in a loving relationship. The woman is not to blame for his behavior, but once she is emotionally invested, it becomes her problem. The classic commitment phobic relationship is divided into 4 different stages. Stage 1, the beginning. They are convinced that they are in love and they are willing to do anything for the woman. Stage 2, the middle. He gets the woman, but he is no longer sure he likes her. Stage 3, the end. The woman chases after him, but he's running away. Stage 4, the bitter end. It's over, and the woman is devastated. The beginning. In this stage, the man is just getting to know the woman. She expects nothing from him, and she isn't that interested. He doesn't feel trapped, so he's free to pursue her. To the naked eye, he's a loving man that wants to be in a relationship, but this is only because he isn't thinking long term. He isn't thinking about his past relationships and how uncomfortable he felt in them. He just knows he wants this woman, and he is willing to do whatever it takes to get her. He truly believes that she's different, and she will be the one woman to whom he will commit. How long the beginning lasts depends on how fast the woman falls in his trap. If she falls quickly, the beginning ends quickly. If she realizes what's truly going on, she can set the pace. Slowing him down may be the best idea. A slower pace is less threatening to him. It's tempting for a woman to jump into a relationship with a man that seems to like her so much, but she has to be aware that he's unrealistic. He likes her because he is projecting what he wants onto her. He's not in love with her. He's in love with his idea of her. He's not thinking about the negative consequences that a commitment will bring to his life. Beware of a man who falls in love so quickly. In short, this is how the beginning of a commitment-phobic relationship looks like. The man is more interested in her than she is interested in him. He tries to impress her and makes her feel special. He's vulnerable, so vulnerable that it seems foolish to think that he will turn cold and leave at some point. He calls her all the time. He schedules future plans with her. He makes her a priority. He tries to earn her trust. He's happy when he's with her. The middle. The middle usually starts when there is a shift of power in the relationship. He gets the girl, but now she wants something more serious. A secure, committed relationship, perhaps. This terrifies him, and his behavior changes. He is no longer the loving, persistent man he was in the beginning. He feels trapped and anxious, and resents the woman for being his captor. He's the one who pushed her this far, but in his mind, she is the one to blame for his feelings. She has become the enemy, and he is determined to get away. In the beginning, he didn't care about her flaws. In the middle, her flaws and shortcomings are all he can focus on. He knows the woman wants more, but he isn't sure that he can give more. He thinks she's great, but when he starts to think of the possibility of being stuck with her forever, she becomes a little bit less great. Most women panic when they see the man withdrawing, so they chase after him, but this only makes him think that she's trying to trap him. He withdraws more and more, until he finally withdraws completely. On the other hand, if he senses that the woman is about to leave him, he will beg her to stay. Why does he react this way? Because committing to no is just as terrifying as committing to yes. Letting her go means that he will never be with her again. This is also a commitment that he doesn't want to make. He wants to be with her, he just doesn't want to be with her. He promises to change, and he truly wants to, but he can't. For a commitment-phobic relationship to work, the woman has to act the way she did in the beginning, independent. If he wants space, the best thing to do is to give him space. If he wants intimacy, the woman has to agree to this on her own terms. This might be a good moment to suggest going to couples counseling. In the middle, he backs away and his words and actions are now filled with mixed messages. He won't introduce the woman to his friends and family. He doesn't want to because this solidifies the commitment. He finds excuses to not spend time with her, and she becomes less of a priority. He stops calling and texting as often. He begins to mention why the relationship might not work out. He might blame it on her religion, the long distance between where they live. He might be allergic to her cat. He was fully aware of these complications in the beginning, but in the beginning, he was a different man. He hints that he might be interested in or already dating another woman. He's in a bad mood when he's with her. He avoids sexual contact. If she threatens to leave him, he promises to change. The end. The end of the commitment-phobic relationship becomes apparent once it's clear that the relationship can't go on unless he is willing to do some changes. The woman is constantly hurt and under stress because of his behavior, but she expects him to make her feel better. This doesn't usually happen. He doesn't want to admit it to the woman nor to himself, but he knows that the relationship won't get any better. It will get worse. Remember that he's a man that can't commit to anything. He can't even commit to not making a commitment. He can't tell the woman that he doesn't want to be with her, so he will let her know indirectly. He may tell her that he's planning to move to a different city alone. He might make it obvious that he's interested in another woman, or maybe dating one already. He may argue with her over nothing. Sooner or later, she demands to know what's going on and where the relationship is going, but the truth rarely comes out. In the end, he's confused by his own behavior. This is a very tough situation for the woman. Even at this point, leaving is hard because she has already invested so much into the relationship and she doesn't want to admit that it was all for nothing. She wants to believe that he can and will change and return to being the loving man he was in the beginning. This is unfortunate for both of them. What he wants is for her to forget how he was in the beginning. She tries to remind him of all her qualities, but this only pushes him further away. The better she is for him, the bigger the threat. He knows he doesn't want to be in a committed relationship, but leaving is not that simple. He can't stop questioning his decision. Maybe he will regret leaving her at some point in the future. At the same time, he feels guilty for hurting her so much. He's aware that she's trying to make him happy. His inner demons are the ones to blame, but he doesn't want to talk about them because if he does, the woman will want to work things out, and then he would really be stuck. At this point, she has to realize that she did all she could, and there's nothing left to do. She has to let him go, or end the relationship herself. In the end, he clearly wants the relationship to end. He barely spends time with the woman. He breaks dates. He admits to want some space. He's in a bad mood most of the time. He sends mixed messages. He completely withdraws sexually. He does nothing to improve the relationship. The bitter end, the great escape. In the bitter end, the commitment phobe is out of control. At this point, he despises her. He ends the relationship in one of three ways. 1. He pushes the woman into ending the relationship. He might criticize her, cheat on her, or argue with her. Breaking up is too much of a commitment for him, but if she is the one to do it, it's a different story. He knows that the woman won't put up with his behavior forever, so he pushes her until she reaches her breaking point. 2. He slowly withdraws until there is no relationship left. He stops investing in the relationship until it dies. He hopes that things will simply evaporate. A small part of him doesn't want the relationship to end, so he puts in just a little effort, just enough to keep it alive, but not enough for it to be a real relationship. 3. He disappears and is never to be seen again. He knows the relationship has gone too far and he can't go any further. He isn't brave enough to tell the woman what is happening, so he leaves without an explanation. He stops texting and doesn't return phone calls. All three lead to an excruciating heartbreak that the woman has to deal with. In time, she heals. This is when she receives a text, or her phone rings. It's him again, and he regrets leaving her and wants to get back together. She might be flattered by his unexpected romantic appearance, but nothing changed. It's the beginning happening all over again. The time and distance between them allowed him to forget why he left, but he's the same man, and he fears commitment as much as he always has. If she takes him back, the 4 stages are repeated. If she doesn't, he will get on his knees and cry. These are signs to watch out for. They can help you tell if a man is a commitment phobe. His history with other women. Out of all the indicators, This one is the most obvious. They struggle to stay in relationships, and they usually say that they are single because they haven't found the right woman for them. He falls in love quickly and loses interest quickly. The man wants the woman, so he chases after her, but if she falls for him, he panics and becomes passive-aggressive. She may blame herself for his behavior, but she's confused because she isn't sure of what she did to make him act this way, and he won't talk about it. Be wary of a man who falls in love quickly, because how quickly he falls in love is how quickly he falls out of love. He can't commit to yes, and he can't commit to no. The woman is not the problem, commitment is. The reason why commitment phobes often become passive-aggressive instead of just leaving is because ending the relationship is also a commitment to never be with this woman. But if he stays, he feels trapped and resents her. Whichever way he turns is a commitment, so he tries to stay somewhere in the middle, or he may leave for a while and then come back. What he wants is for her to be there for him, just in case. He's unfaithful. There is nothing more destructive to a relationship than cheating. At the same time, an affair helps the commitment phobe feel more free. Oftentimes, he will unconsciously let the woman find out that he's cheating. He tells himself that the woman is not the right one. A commitment phobe doesn't want to admit that he's the one with a problem, so he comes up with an explanation for why things aren't working out that doesn't involve him. It's easy to blame the woman, and he does. It's common for commitment phobes to get involved with women that are wrong for them. There might be a big age difference, or they might practice a different religion. Wrong women give them an excuse to enter the relationship with one foot out the door. They like women that live far away from them because they give them an excuse to not see them very often. He leaves when things are going well. There's nothing wrong with leaving a bad relationship, but commitment phobes have a tendency to leave when things are going well. A good first date is often enough. A good date might make the woman want to see him again. Eventually, things will get intimate, and she will expect him to commit, precisely what he's trying to avoid. He avoids sleeping in the same bed. He often leaves in the middle of the night, sleeps on the couch, or simply never sleeps at her place and doesn't invite her to sleep at his place. He often changes jobs, apartment, or moves to a different city. Commitment phobes not only have a hard time committing to women, they find it hard to commit to any major life decision. A man that is often moving and changing jobs signals that he will want to change his woman just as often. He struggles to make major purchases. Commitment phobes usually rent. Buying a home is terrifying because they know that they may want to move at some point in the future. Buying a car or furniture is torturous as well. They can't stop thinking of all the other options. Maybe a van would have been better, or a different couch. If you're a commitment phobe, or you're a woman dating one, you're probably asking yourself if change is possible. It's not as simple as saying yes or no. It depends on the man and his desire to change. If he doesn't want to change, he won't, and there's nothing that the woman can do to change him. If this is the case, the best thing the woman can do for him and for herself is to get out of the relationship as soon as possible. The least amount of time she wastes with a man like this, the easier it'll be for her to heal. If the commitment phobe wants to change, and he's willing to look for help and deal with his inner demons, he probably can. There's help out there, but no one can do the work for him. He has to do it, and it's oftentimes very difficult. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please leave a like and subscribe for more.